Hello, loves. Hello, hello. Hills here from the Blue Flame Apothecary. How are we? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This energy is something, isn't it? Whew. Today we're going to talk about the Aquarius new moon, but we're also going to talk about some other signatures of this current, really the month of February. Every aspect, everything that we touch into when I'm feeling into both the astrological and the energetic template of this current moment, this current cycle that we're in, it is about new. It's starting a new cycle. The new moon itself, when we feel into the new moon, that's part of the energy that we are feeling into. We find the moon going into its dark moon phase, coming into that void point, that 0 point at the center, at the heart of the sun, and then re-emerging on the other side. And this is why when we talk about the new moon, many energy workers and astrologers will say this is the perfect time to plant a seed. It is that time when we can go into the 0 point, into the space of the no thing, access from there, and then bring something new into being. This particular new moon has that energy amplified very, very, very strongly. There's a few reasons for this, and we're going to get into them. All right. It's very exciting, and it's almost too much to try and cram into an energy update, which is pretty amazing considering that it's all crammed into the shortest month of the year, which has grown by a day because we're in a leap year. So one of the things that we can feel into, even in the month of February, this year having 29 days, the month itself is beginning a new cycle. This will have 29 days, and then we'll go through a few years of 28 days and begin a cycle again, this leap year cycle that we have in this funky, funky, funky Western Gregorian calendar. We have another new cycle beginning because we have Pluto in Aquarius now. And over the course of kind of beginning at the beginning of this week through the month of February, we have, first it was Mercury, and Mercury is still very active in Aquarius during this new moon. It'll be in square with Jupiter. Mercury traveled over top of Pluto. And we have Mars and Venus at the very end of Capricorn getting ready on the 16th and 17th, respectively, to transit over that 0 degree of Aquarius and over Pluto. And then making their way into a square with Jupiter. We have the sun and moon at 20 degrees on the day of this new moon. The day before, the sun itself will make an exact square to Uranus, so on the 8th, and during the new moon, both the moon and the sun will be in a very tight square to Uranus. Now, this is interesting, right? Because Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, sitting in Taurus, which is manifestation energy. It is earthly manifestation energy. So we have the sun and moon in the home sign, Aquarius, of Uranus, in a square, finding a way to create something new from that awakened state of Uranus in the new earth energies of Taurus. The day after the new moon, on the 10th, we celebrate what is known as the Lunar New Year, also sometimes called Chinese New Year. It is beginning a new cycle also. We have the wood dragon coming in. So we get to play with the sun and moon creation energy in Aquarius, which is the higher mind, coming into a state of higher awareness, and we can feel into the Amrita, that ambrosia, that nectar of the gods that the water bearer, the symbol of Aquarius, is pouring onto the planet. The sun and moon together in this place as Uranus in square comes into an eye-opening relationship with the earth. An eye-opening relationship with the earth. While Mercury, the messenger of the gods, is in square to Jupiter, also in Taurus. So we have this expanded field for communication between the realms. And then the next day, we celebrate the opening up of the year of the dragon, the wood dragon, which is earthy wood. It's that which we can burn to cook our food, that which we use to build our shelters. Wood connects us to the tree of life, to the earthly realms, to our roots and our branches. And we still have Sophia, which is symbolized of the tree of life, in a tight square, or a tight trine rather, with Pluto. And this is going to continue all through the month of February. All through the month of February, Sophia, wisdom, gnosis, is trining this energy. And we have another really powerful trine that I'm going to get into, which involves the sun and moon. Are we going there right now? First, the dragon. First, the dragon. So dragon energy is empowerment energy. It is creative unification energy. It is the furnace. When we feel into the fire-breathing nature of the dragon, we can feel how all of that energy is being stoked in the area of the root of the sacral navel, those deep parts of our embodied being, where we create and embody ourselves. When we anchor in, when we root down, and when we create, and it stokes this fire, and it connects in with the area of our solar plexus, and it grows from there. And then all of this amazing power and energy, this power that is our embodied creative essence, explodes out of our heart and out of our throats. That's the energy of the dragon. It is coming into a deep embodied state. And dragons are big, ground-bearing creatures. They live close to the ground, and they live in caves, generally, right? But they also have wings and they fly. So you can feel how the energy of Aquarius, in working in concert with the energy of Taurus that we have so loudly right now for this new moon, is typified in a beautiful way through the energy of the dragon. So we come through this new moon, and we enter the phase of the dragon. This is beginning a new 60-year cycle. So here we go with that new energy again. Then the following day, we have the Chiron North Node exact conjunction, again coming into a new cycle of empowered beingness. Coming into a new cycle of empowered beingness. Now, as we start to feel into this, I want to bring in this grand air trine that the sun and moon are part of. The sun and moon, as I said, are at 20 degrees of Aquarius during this particular new moon on the 9th. It's at about 3 p.m. Pacific, 2:59 Pacific on the 9th. So depending on where you are time zone wise, it'll be at different times. It might even be on the 10th. These two bodies, the sun, our outward expression of self, and the moon, our introspective qualities, are making an exact trine to the south node in Libra, our relationships to others, and it is inviting us to come into a greater reconciliation with how we have related to others, with what we value in our relationships and in the world. Full stop. What we value. That's what the South Node in Libra is asking us to do all year. And this particular new moon, the sun and moon are in trine, gifting us an ability to go deeper and to expand and to be more whole of self, to feel more and to see and allow more of our unique genius, that's Aquarian energy, to flow as we connect in with that energy of how we have related to the world and what we value in our relationships with the world, in our relationships in general. These two energies in trine are also making a very tight trine to Vesta, which is the eternal flame. And you feel that dragon energy again, those stoking of those fires in Gemini. And this energy of Vesta is also conjunct Medusa. And there we have that serpent energy of that dragon energy again, right? And Medusa invites us to reclaim our story, our voice, our sight, our wisdom. And we're going to take a quick pause here because Medusa's energy is powerful medicine for the place that we are right now. And Medusa in Gemini in particular invites us to speak, to express ourselves wholly. The story of Medusa is that she was this vibrant sexual being and that she would not tame her full creative potential, her full fire. And for this, she was punished because it scared people. It was too scary. It was too much. And how many of us have been told we are too much? What Medusa in Gemini invites us to do is to say, I am this full expression of my being. It may turn you to stone. It may petrify you. But I will not dim my light just because you're scared. And that's what Aquarian energy is also, isn't it? So in this beautiful grand air trine, we have all of this energy saying, I will be my beingness fully, brightly, vibrantly, wholly. And then the dragon. Enter the dragon, exactly, right? I am this wholeness. And then we have Chiron conjunct the North Node in Aries. This is running the entire month of February, but it is exact on the 11th. And this helps us to once again say, yes, these are the things, these are the ways I dimmed my shine in relationships of past. But here are the places where they were amazing. Let me carry that forward and let me teach from that place. Let me find these places of old wounds where I can remember the brightness of my shine. And through that, come into a more exalted relationship with all. I can value your full unique expression because I am valuing mine. I find my true value. And so I can see yours, because I don't feel like I'm in competition with you. And you start to feel what the empowerment of the year of the dragon is inviting for us. There's a solidity to wood also. It's what we build our foundations upon. Let me feel. There's a lot going on. I want to feel if there's another piece that really wants to drop in. We talked a lot, yes there is. We talked a lot about Sekhmet in the full moon in Leo video. Sekhmet has now moved into Pisces and is in exactly conjunct to Saturn. And so when we feel that Sekhmet energy, we can feel that lioness, that empress, that solid, courageous, open-hearted nature, now in the sign of the higher heart, of spiritual transcendence. And we are being asked, we are being invited more so, we are being invited to say, and from here, I build my new foundation. That's Saturn energy. From here, from this place of courageously seated in my power, I allow the connection to all of the where I have been, that I may bring forward all that I am able to be, all that I am, my true beingness, my light shining bright. Let me feel if we're going to do this little inventory. There is there is an energy that's on the horizon for us. It's coming in April. April 20th is the exactitude of it, I believe. And this is Jupiter coming into conjunction with Uranus. This is one of the most powerful energies of the entire year. Now this Chiron North Node conjunction is also, and Pluto shifting into Aquarius. Can you feel how powerful this year is? It's amazing. It's amazing, y'all. It's so... But this, and also the eclipse season, but whew. And it's interesting. Okay. We have this Uranus-Jupiter conjunction happening in April. And it's happening right after we emerge out onto the other side of the eclipse season. And in between now, this moment when I'm speaking, and we're about to go into the Aquarius new moon, and that conjunction, we have first Mercury, who has now come in and is already in that trine, or that square rather, with Jupiter. The sun and moon already now in the square with Uranus. They are going to shift. The sun's going to move out into Pisces. Mercury is going to continue on and come into square with Uranus on the 16th of February. This exact same day, Mars is going to shift into Aquarius out of Capricorn and come into conjunction with Pluto. The next day, Venus is going to shift out of Capricorn and come into conjunction with Pluto. So on the 16th, 17th, we will have Mercury square Uranus, Venus and Mars conjunct Pluto. So we have all this energy of Aquarian Taurus. This is that dragon that we were talking about. Shifting, birthing the new, coming into greater relationship with our mental capacities, our higher mind capacities. And as all of this is happening, the sun gets ready to shift into Pisces, bringing the higher heart online even more. So then we have Sun in Pisces, Mercury coming into Pisces, Venus, and then Mars shifting out of the conjunction with Pluto, coming into the square with Jupiter. Then as we come on to the 27th of February, we have the Sun and Mercury conjunct Saturn in Pisces, as we have Venus getting ready to do a square dance with Uranus, followed by Mars getting ready to do a square dance with Uranus. And this is how we're being carried through the month of February. It is back to back to back to back. Conjunction Pluto, square Jupiter, square Uranus. And all of this is helping us to acclimate to this new Aquarian energy, which can be, for some, a bit destabilizing because there is so much, so many multitudes in Aquarian energy. It is the individual. It is also collective grassroots organizing. It is unique expression, as well as finding an organized way to be. There's a lot of dichotomy. And one of the ways to help you feel into this, if you have a little bit of trouble anchoring into Aquarian energy, if it's a little bit wobbly for you, is a remembering that we are coming into the end of the astrological year. So when we come into Aquarius and when we come into Pisces, we're coming into the last two signs of the cycle. And it's at those times of spiritual growth when you're starting to realize that everything is everything and all encompassing. It's a lot of both and sort of energies. And the line between Pisces and Aquarius starts to get really blurry. It is a dream of transcendence and a transcendent dream, and the higher heart and the higher mind start to play with one another, and you can start to feel why the Aquarian symbol is the water bearer, both air and water, because it is starting to remember. It's starting to remember the whole beautiful melange that makes up all of everything. I do have one recommendation as far as a way to play with this energy. It's something that I have been guided to do and something that I'm going to be starting on Thursday. So on the 8th, I'm going to be starting this practice, and it's going to run for me through the 11th. And that is, I keep a lot of grids, crystal grids around my house, and different energetic I'm trying to feel the right word. Altars, energetic altars, that's a good word for it. This particular new moon is a perfect time if you also work with crystals, with oracle cards, with anything that likes a good recharge, refresh. For me on Thursday, I will be dismantling all of the grids that have been running for the last cycle. The ones that I keep in my bedroom, the ones that I keep in my studio space here, and all of the various ones around the house. I'll be dismantling them during the new moon energies of the 9th, I'll be setting them as well as most of the crystals in my house, which I'm sure you can imagine is quite a lot of them. And a lot of my crystal jewelry also. I'll be setting them out on charging platforms. Calling in, part of my new moon ritual will be calling in the energy of this new cycle and that dragon energy to clear out what does not need to be, to invite in and recharge, rejuvenate these spaces. And then from that place, as we move into the Lunar New Year energies on the 10th, inviting all of the crystals in my house to speak to me and share with me what are the new grids that this new cycle of energy wish to be formed. How am I called? Which stones am I called to work with? Which cards are going to change orders? This is also a great time, like what clothes want to move out of rotation if you don't work with crystals and things like that? What foods that I generally eat want to be shifted out of rotation in favor of a new food? Is there some new way that I want to engage with in my relationship with that which I put into my body? Do I want to change from a vegan diet to eating eggs, or from an eating eggs to a vegan diet? One of the ones that has come through for me is I was doing a matcha every morning, and it has cycled out, and now I'm being asked to do a coffee in the morning instead. It can be very seemingly mundane. And part of this energy is actually an invitation to allow the mundane, the seemingly mundane, to transform before your very eyes into the magnificent, magical state that it actually is. That we can remember that I'm not sitting on this chair. I'm floating on this chair. There is energy. There are atoms in between my body and the chair, and that is what the interaction is. And then we get to start to remember that we're all levitating all the time, and also that we're intimately connected through that electromagnetic pulsations of all of the atoms between all of our cells, of all of our beings. And it can get really far out there, and then you can start to remember that there is a mitochondria inside every single one of your cells. And it is just as you are to the entire universe, an aspect of the entire universe of you. And as each mitochondria is vitally important to your health and well-being, you are vitally important to the health and well-being of the universe. And when you remember that, then you want to take better care of yourself, right? Like, oh, right. If my mitochondria get sick, I get really sick. So if I get sick, what is that doing to my community, to my universe, to my galaxy, to my planet? These are kind of the invitations, the playgrounds. Like, journal about your, maybe write a letter of gratitude to the mitochondria that make up your beingness. Sing songs with the farandole who were part of the mitochondria. Play hopscotch. I don't know why, but play hopscotch apparently is a beautiful way to embrace the unique genius of this. I see. It's play hopscotch with the stars. How can you do that? That's a fun place to play. Artistic expression. These grids, maybe you're called to make a new grid in your house, to tune your water in a different way, to sing to your water before you drink it. There's so many ways to play with this energy. Over in the members portal, I will be making also public, back in November. It was a November Scorpio new moon. I facilitated our new moon circle on the dragon line, and the meditation, the light activation that came through was connected to the it was an activation of our dragon energy. And so I'm going to make that available publicly through this cycle. So for the next week or so, I believe I'll be taking it down just as the sun is alighting into Pisces and putting it back into the portal. But I'm going to make it available for the full community. I will also be facilitating in the members portal our new moon circle on the 9th. So if that's something that calls to you, or if you want to come and check out what's going on over at the Blue Flame members portal, it's on Patreon. There will be a link below. Let me feel if there's anything else that wants to be shared before we close. Okay. Kali is like, you are not going to not talk about me. Kali is exactly across the wheel from Uranus right now in Scorpio. So that means that on this new moon, Kali is in a T-square between Uranus and the sun and moon. As all of these beautiful energies of Mercury and then Venus and then Mars all come into alignment with Uranus over the course of this month, Kali is going to be right there, which invites you to lay waste to anything that is not in your highest good, that is not a true expression of your awakened being. Anything that asks you to go back to sleep. Yes, thank you, Kali. Yes, lay waste to anything and anyone that asks you to go back to sleep. And by lay waste, I of course mean allow them to be cycled out in that way which most serves. This South Node in Libra energy is really inviting us all to allow those relationships that are not fulfilling, that are not satisfying, that are not true, that ask us to be smaller than we are, that ask us to change our feel. I want to make sure that these words really come. When we have a relationship that asks us to be smaller, to be less, it's those places where somebody says, you're too much. When we hear that, you're too much, can we, instead of embodying that, instead of saying, I am too much, let me just get a little smaller so that I don't hurt your feelings, so that I don't offend you. I didn't think I was going to talk about this, but apparently I am. On Sunday, the day of the North Node Chiron conjunction, here in the US, we have the Super Bowl. And everyone's all up in arms about this Super Bowl because Taylor Swift is dating the quarterback, I think, for one of the teams. I'm not a big football person, but I know that this is a thing. And I saw this amazing meme the other day, because one of the things that people are really upset about is that Taylor Swift goes to these games and they pan the camera at her and they show her in the stands. And people are like, why are you taking time from my football to show this woman? And this meme was directed at fathers. And it said, know this. Your daughters are watching you complain about their hero taking 60 seconds of TV time. And what they hear when you complain is be less, be smaller, stay out of my way. And this is a perfect example. It's like sometimes the world, the way that it gives us these perfect examples, this is a perfect example of this North Node Chiron and South Node in trine to the Sun and Moon with Vesta and Medusa sort of energy that we have during this new moon. It is, no, I will not be smaller. I am allowed to be on camera. I'm more famous than this football guy, actually. And I'm not taking anything away from your football game by being here. I am actually adding to the whole. So let me shine, let me be this whole beingness that I am. Because it will make everyone shine brighter. And that is the invitation that we are all being gifted through this energy, is a remembering that by making ourselves smaller, it does not actually make the other person bigger. It actually makes them smaller too. By being in our whole expanded, bright, brilliant, radiant beingness, we make everything else shine brighter too. And that's your invitation. That is your true invitation for this new moon, and for always. Shine, shine, shine brilliantly, light workers. I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that is where we will close, as always, in always, from, through, and beyond the all dimensions. So much and many loves.